we can start with questions.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Coach, you talked about the advantage of having the break and being able to get players rested and healthy, and then have a few practices here before you head to Clemson. How'd you like the way the team performed in practice this week in preparations for the Clemson game?
Yeah. Well, one, thankful for a bye week. That was pretty good. It wasn't as productive as I wanted it to be just because we got hit with some illness. There's a lot going on around in the country with virus, so we got hit a little bit with that. But I think it was still some good practices that we put together. Some days off. We had a snow day, things like that. So it was great that it all happened during the bye week. I think we're still confident, coming off that Wake Forest win. I thought, we had good practices before that and after that. We're going to have to push through some things, but everybody does at this point in the year. So I like where we are mentally, and I like what we're doing in practice.
On that topic of just player availability and rotations, obviously throughout the year dealt with various injuries, had 10 different players start a game this season, but we're at around the midway point of the season. Are you starting to see this is the rotation that you want? I've noticed the rotation's getting a little bit tighter. Are you starting to get a good idea of who you want coming in at what time of game?
I would hope so. Like you said, availability. We haven't had our full team in practice yet this season. I mean, it's been a lot, but again, adversity is sometimes what builds championship teams. So we welcome that, and I just want us to continue to persevere through adversity and be resilient. And I think we're learning a lot of stuff that's going to help us on the court, but then also off the court. So availability has made it so we have changed up the lineup a lot of times. Sometimes we change it up for inconsistent play. There's been a lot of different factors, but I would hope that we could, settle in a rotation and get to, play with each other a little bit more and find some continuity that way. But again, availability has been our question mark all year, and we just got to kind of see how that goes. But I like where we are. I think people are getting healthy. I think we're getting on track, and no better time than now. So it looks good for us.
Clemson's gotten off to a pretty good start in ACC play. They played NC State tough, and then they just went to the West Coast, got a couple of wins. What are you seeing from them on tape, and what is your team going to have to do to play well against them?
Yeah, I think Clemson's hot right now. I think Sean's doing a great job in his first year at Clemson. He's a great coach. We've known that even from his Chattanooga days. But, they're hot. They're confident. They just had 2 good wins against Cal and Stanford. So I think, when teams are confident, that's another thing you have to deal with. But we're also confident. I think coming off that Wake Forest win, it was really good for us just to get back on track, especially after Notre Dame. So I think it's 2 teams that have similar records that are fighting for something, and we just got to compete. That's one thing that Clemson does. They compete for 40 minutes. They're very confident in offense, led by Loyal McQueen, obviously, and she's a guard that's pretty dynamic. So we just have to compete for 40 minutes, focus on us, focus on the game plan, and go do what we're supposed to do.
Back to Matt's question about the lineups and availabilities. We hear so often that coaches talk about there's value in consistency, but do you kind of see it the other way where it kind of helps different players where they have a chance to play with different teammates and stuff like that they don't usually get to play with, in certain situations?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of practice that way, though. Everybody kind of gets reps with everybody, I think, because you just have to be ready when your number's called, no matter who you are on the team. But, yeah, I mean, you could look at it that way. I think you could look at it both ways. Sometimes it's great to get a group of, 8, 9, or whatever your rotation is and get them playing really well together. Sometimes it's good to get people experience just in case rotations change. So I really don't focus much on that. I'm just always, game by game, let's stay present. Who do we have? Who's available? Next woman up mentality. And let's just focus on being consistent individually so that we can be consistent as a team.
And then no Taylor for you guys last time out against Wake. Do you have an update on her status right now?
Yeah, it was an illness. I think she'll probably be back. Yep.
Brianna's coming off a good game. Halfway through the year now, how do you think that she will do in the second half of the season? Do you feel like she's halfway through her freshman year? How has she developed, and what do you think she can give you for the ACC season?
Yeah, it was great that Bree got back on track, against Wake. I think she started out great. Everybody can see she's going to be a phenomenal talent here. But freshman year is hard. Your first year is hard. There's ups and downs. There's adversity. I think the Puerto Rico trip was pretty tough on our team, but especially on our first years, playing 3 back-to-back games like that at this pace that we play at, the physicality level, all that stuff. So I think, after Puerto Rico, she took a little bit of a dive. I think she hit a little bit of a wall, but then she just kept fighting to break through that, and I think she did in Wake game. So I would hope that she could be consistent for us, just like any other player on our team. But But I like the things that she brings because she can play multiple positions and is a big guard, too, when she's at the guard spot that can do multiple things.
And what role do you think Odessa will play for you here in the ACC season? How has she progressed, and what do you see for her?
Yeah, I mean, I think Odessa's continuing to work her way back from her illness when she had pneumonia. She was out, about a month or so, or whatever that was, in non-conference play. So that takes a lot out of you if you're in the hospital and dealing with things like that. So she's working to get back to where she is. I know if you talk to her, she would say she's not back yet where she wants to be. She's back playing, but she's not back where she wants to be. But even where she is now is helping our team. Odessa's somebody who understands the game plan. She understands our offense inside and out. She can play the 4 and the 5. She can score the ball. She can defend. So, once she just continues to work her way back into where she was before she got the illness, I think, she'll help us even more. But where she's at now, I love it. That's why she's starting. She does a lot for us.
And what do you want to see from your team down at Clemson? What do you expect, and what do you need to come away with a win down there?
We got to compete. We got to compete for 40 minutes. We got to be the tougher team physically and mentally. Obviously, on the road, you got to have, that down 10 mentality and start from the jump. And so we can't have any lulls or lapses in the game. If we hit adversity, which we will. I mean, the game is adversity. We just got to be able to keep going, right? Keep our foot on the gas pedal. So I think that's what we've been talking about in practice. Anytime we hit a little adversity in practice, come together. Stop the bleeding. And get back to it. So we got to do that on the road. We have to learn how to win on the road in ACC play.
Another player who has missed some time this season is Paris Clark. She had that injury to start the year, missed a few games in December as well. She was such a key part of your team last year, and I know you expect her to be that this year as well, but it seems like it's taking her a little bit more time just to get into a rhythm. How do you approach, that situation where you're trying to get a player up to 100% speed while also acknowledging it's important to, go at a pace that is best for the player's development? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, Paris is and will continue to be a big part of our success. She's a kid that, of course, is all in, works really hard. She's just really had some unfortunate luck with her foot, and had, some surgeries in off season, and it's kind of trickled into the season. So she's been in and out of the lineup just trying to deal with her foot, to be honest. And she's playing through a lot. She's a tough kid. I love her toughness, and I love her will to be out there with her teammates. But, I mean, she helps us. I mean, even though she's, maybe not playing where she wants to be playing, I guess to the level that she wants to be playing at, she helps us on both sides of the ball. She helps us defensively for sure, rebounding, and then offensively just putting pressure on the defense, getting downhill. So I think each game is getting better for Paris, and I think she's going to continue to be a big part of our success. But sometimes you just have to work through things. Once you miss a summer and a preseason, and really she missed postseason last year, summer and preseason. She's trying to play her way back into where she wants to be. Sometimes your mental game's ahead of your physical game a little bit. And so that's what she's working through. But I think, Paris is a fighter, and we need her, and she's doing whatever she can to help our team.
And obviously, as the season goes on, you want the team as a whole to improve, to continue to progress. But when you look at these individual cases, Odessa missing time and Paris missing time, there's a bunch on the team. Does that give you, extra confidence that as they grow and get back to 100% individually, that could raise the level that the team plays as a whole?
Yeah, I think we've definitely had our share of adversity. Our players have individually, but I'm just not somebody who makes excuses at the end of the day. Yes, we've had to work through a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, I still think we have enough to get it done. And the ones that are coming back are going to continue to get healthy. So I'm just really focused on us coming together. There's no woe is me. There's no let's make an excuse for this, let's make an excuse for that. I just don't believe in that. I believe in we're going to put players that are healthy out on the court, and we need to go fight and compete for 40 minutes. Stick to the game plan, do what we can do, or do what we know we can do, and we'll be fine. So, yes, obviously we want to continue to get better. That's the goal. And continue to gel together and, learn each other even more and all that stuff. And I think that'll happen as the season goes on. But at the end of the day, we're in the middle of the season now. So this isn't November anymore. We need to be coming together at a faster pace, and that's what I'm focused on.